Hello, my name is Nea, and welcome to Crafts and Treasures. Recently, we've had quite a few rainy days over here, so I thought I might just add some clips from my recent trip to a local national park and share some casual crafting with you guys. So today I'm showing you 5 different ways how to customize your own canned mini goods. And since it's been so grey lately and we technically still have Pride Month going on, I thought it would be fun to use lots of bright colors and kind of have fun with this. And we're gonna be using UV resin tonight, so we're gonna need some protective gear and quite a few supplies, to be honest. First of all, chalk pastels, which are we gonna use for coloring the resin, plastic cup for mixing, and obviously some protective gear because UV resin is extremely toxic, so please always wear gloves and mask if possible. Also, good ventilation is a key. I have all my windows open now. And for shaving the pastels, I have this box cutter. Then we're gonna need a popsicle stick for stirring and a pipette. And last but not least, obviously, we need some glass jars, which I ordered online a bunch of so I can make as many as I want. I'm protecting my table currently with a piece of paper. I know I do have a crafting mat, but I couldn't find it, so we're just gonna go with paper this time. And I actually want to start with making something like strawberry or cherry jam. So I'm picking up this quite cold shade of red and just shaving some in a cup. I'm not measuring here at all because, I have no idea what this is gonna look like. Just in case, I'm adding some apple red as well, just to keep the color bright enough. Because yes, we are still looking for some vibrant, funny colors. Then all we need is some normal UV resin. And I'm just gonna pour some. I think I'm like trying to fit the amount that could fit into 3 jars into this cup. And next thing we need to do is just stir. And actually it takes quite a while, so make sure you stir it well, just so the pigments actually mix well, otherwise you're gonna have uneven looking jam inside your jar. And slowly you can see that the resin is turning red and there's no individual bits and pieces anymore. There it is, all nicely mixed. And now I'm just setting my jars and taking my pipette so I can actually make sure to get all the resin inside the jars and not making too much of a mess. And I actually love this part. I don't know why, but it's so satisfying to me to watch the resin getting inside the tube. I don't know why. There's something fun about it. And then we carefully just put the resin with the pipette into the jars. And I wasn't too careful about air bubbles, but if they bother you, you can get rid of them by poking or using a heat gun. Here I already filled them up off camera, and just to add some variety, I'm gonna put a little spoon in one of them. I think most of these spoons are from Sylvanian Family series, but I mean, if I had any nicer one, I would use those. And next, all we need to do is cure them with UV light. And don't forget the tools. 1 minute should be enough. And while we wait, I wanted to show you a little clip from the national park where there is actually quite a few beavers, and since it's been raining so much lately, all the dams had made the water levels to rise so much that the path had actually flooded. And I'm not 100% sure, but what you see right now might even be the dam. And while we didn't see any beavers themselves, we sure were amazed by all the tracks they had left for us. And here we are back at the studio, and as you can see, I already made some different colored ones and they are all cured. As you can see, the spoon is now sitting there steadily. But what they also need is some labels. And as you can see, I've printed some out here and also cutted some out as well already. I made all of these just by using Canva and printing them out on a regular paper. So nothing too fancy, and I don't think it needs to be. Here I cutted some out for us. There is a pear jam one, there is a raspberry marmalade, and a honey label. Ooh, B was upside down, but there you go. And we're gonna just glue them in by using tacky glue. This is my go-to glue whenever crafting miniatures. I feel like if you need or can afford only one glue, it should be tacky glue because it's really versatile and I think it holds up really well and also dries fast. But there we go, I'm just smearing some glue on the labels and gluing them in. And you can actually immediately see how it changes the look. I think creating or finding labels that you like is a crucial part of customizing them, because that's the way you make them look like you, and also it's easier to tell what they actually are if you're using pictures and words in the labels. And yes, I'm aware that pear jam isn't really that green, but like I said earlier, I just really wanted to have an excuse to use some bright colors, and since we don't really have any bits and pieces to add, I couldn't do any like pickles or actually green things like olives. So yeah, let's not just take it too seriously. As you can see, I think these two still need lids, but the one with the spoon can just go as it is. And next, I'm gonna show you 2 different ways how to do lids for these kind of cans. We're gonna be using some scrap fabric. For this one, I chose this yellow one because I think it will look nice with the label. And all we need is some pair of scissors. And then we're just gonna cut a tiny little square. And again, I don't really measure, I just try to error, I guess. If it's too small, you can always cut another one. And again, we're trusting in our beloved tacky glue, just tapping it lightly on the top and a little bit on the edges. And here, just make sure you set your fabric in a way so you can see the label. At least that's something that I found important. If you don't care, that's totally fine. Just tap it there, and while the glue is still wet, we're gonna take some yarn. I have some brown and then some a little bit thinner white one, but I think we're gonna go with the brown one for this one because I kind of like the contrast between the dark yarn and the light fabric. And all you need to do is fold the edges while you wrap the yarn around. And for some reason, I'm actually really struggling here. Okay, I tied it off camera. I'm now just cutting off the excess. And just to make sure your knot actually stays, and so those little yarn tails don't just point every direction, I'm gonna glue them against the yarn side. Once the glue dries, it won't be that visible, and it will make it a little bit more neater. Then for the next one, we have this honey jar. I actually want to use tissue paper. I have some pastel colored ones here, but we're gonna use this white one. And again, we just take scissors and cut off a piece. And the method is just actually the same as with fabric. But obviously you have to be quite careful here because tissue paper is really thin and can break easily. Just giving some finishing touches on the edges. And then again, tapping the glue. Here I think you need to be careful so you don't put too much glue because the tissue paper can get too wet and then it just falls apart and kind of like rips when you're trying to fold it over the edges. So pay attention to that and be careful. And since tying knots on camera seems to be my new arch nemesis, I'm gonna just do it off camera using this white yarn. And here you can see I use different colored tissue papers for different kind of canned goods. There's white, purple for plum, and blue for blueberries. Just to bring some variety again. And same with fabrics, I used some red ones and the other red one I actually aged, and then there's one strawberry jam one. I didn't age that much. But you want to pay attention to little details just to bring more interest to your pieces. And then one last way to make a lid for this jar is that I'm gonna actually just use normal nail polish and paint it on. And since the resin is completely cured, it's just gonna stay on top and hopefully look like a lid. And I'm just carefully painting the top and the edges with the nail polish. And I think you could actually paint this over with some gold paint to give it more rustic golden look, if you like that. Or just leave it as it is. And now we can just set it to dry. It is a bit see-through, so I'm gonna make a second layer later. Here you can see I also tried different colored nail polishes. Red for some raspberry marmalade and green for some apple jam. And I think they look adorable. Really simple, really fun. And here you can see all of the colors. There's blueberry, plum, raspberry, orange marmalade, honey, lemon marmalade, and some applesauce. And I actually did also leave some of them without lids, just to make sure I have actually enough variety to fill up all my kitchens and pantries. And as someone who still considers being a beginner when working with UV resin, I really think this was a great way to experiment and try new things. And I really hope this inspired you to try it as well. I want to thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Bye!